You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. This is Making Tracks. Here are your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster.
It's not true. That's impossible.
You're listening to Making Tracks. I'm your co-host Mark Newbold, and joining me today as we walk around Star Wars Fan Fun Day in Blackburn, Ewood Park, is a man who is, well, this isn't good for podcasting, but he's dressed in orange.
Yes. I am dressed in orange. My name is Mark Mulcaster. I am one of the co-hosts of Making Tracks. This is good fun. Star Wars Fan Fun Day.
Exactly. It's your first one, so what are you making of it so far?
It's good. It's got a nice, friendly atmosphere, nice and chill. Lovely weather today, which I think is probably actually helping some people.
Yes.
And maybe hindering other people. But it's great, you know. So it's split open into kind of two different areas.
Yep.
We are literally now just walking into the, I suppose you'd say like the costume area, because there's...
It's where the meal was last night.
It's where the meal was, where the charity event was yesterday, yeah, which was great fun. We've kind of got a speeder bike.
Yep.
And there's a nice cool little Yoda in his hut where you can have some photos, and the 99th Garrison and the 5th Legion are here, Rebel Legion's here.
Yeah.
So it's all fun. Yeah, so it's all good fun.
We're going to steer away from the food court because I'm already hungry.
I know, I'm starving.
So we're going to turn around and walk back the way we came. Last night, let's talk about last night. So last night was dinner with the Star Wars stars.
Yes.
We managed to get all the Fanthas on one table.
I know.
Crammed them on. We had Samantha Mullane with us, who was our superstar guest, who ended up leaving the table halfway through because she was very annoyed with us.
Yes.
And rightly so.
I never knew the Fantha Trackers could be so childish, but actually I totally knew that, and it was good fun.
Totally knew that. That's why you're part of the team.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it was a cracking night last night. Great music. It was a band playing Fleetwood Mac hits.
Yes.
Which was really cool.
Yeah,
Wasn't expecting to hear that.
No, that was cool.
Yeah, so it was a nice raucous night, which is the kind of night that we like.
Yep.
But today, it's been nice and busy. It's been nice and steady.
Yeah.
They've done a good job because being in Burnley for so many years and now moving to Blackburn, it's a different layout. The room's different. They've sort of adjusted quite nicely. And it's at a football club, so actually there's a game going on outside as the convention's going on. So the window in front of the pitch is where all the guests are. Nice and busy,
lots of people, so you're going to hear bits of conversation as we walk around the main show floor.
Yeah.
Have you spotted anything that you've seen in your travels?
Well, funny enough, I usually try and be quite careful about what I pick up and buy.
Yeah.
And I always end up spending way more than I should. And I have seen quite a few little bits and bobs, and it's always little fiddly bits for me, rather than the sort of the marquee big buys.
Yeah.
But I've seen bits. There's definitely going to be some purchases. I have picked up a book already.
Have you?
One of the Jeffrey Carlton Super Collector Wish books. He did 5 of them, and I think I got 2, so I picked up one that I was missing. So that was a nice purchase, and then weirdly found my name in it, which I wasn't expecting.
Hilarious.
And then issue 11 of Return of the Jedi Weekly, which has got my letter in from August 83.
See, I don't think we've ever talked about that. Tell us a story. Tell us a tale.
Okay, I'll tell you a happy memory of always wanted a letter in the letters page. Back when letters pages were a proper thing.
Yeah.
Jedi comes out, obviously. By this time, 82, 83, I'm writing my own fanfic. So I sent a letter in as my fanfic character, Jan Lamona, which is spelled Jan.
Okay.
Like Jan.
Like
a girl's name. Yeah. But you say it like you say it like the Dutch name, so Jan Lamona.
Yeah.
So I send the letter in. It ends up being like the first letter in the letters page. Thrilled to bits. Friend of mine, Andrew Green, I haven't seen him for 40 years, but my friend Andrew phones me up. Mark, go down the news agents now. Your letter's in Return the Jedi Weekly. Because it used to print your full address. So that's how we knew it was me.
Wow, yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of GDPR and safeguarding issues now.
Not believe it. Oh, totally. So I go belting down the hill.
Yeah.
And I was a tubby little thing when I was 11. and barreling down the hill to get this newspaper magazine comic.
Yeah.
Come up the road, reading the comic, seeing my letter, thrilled to bits. About 2 weeks later, letter turns up at my house.
Right. Okay.
Oh, what's this? I didn't get many letters when I was a kid. Opened up the envelope, and it's a letter saying, "Dear Jan, how cool is it that there are girl Star Wars fans? Will you be my pen pal?"
Oh wow.
12-year-old me was outraged.
So
I'm not a girl. I'm not a girl. So I tear the letter up. I was so annoyed. I tear the letter. I wish I kept it now. Would have been awesome. I had about 6 letters like that.
Do you know who it was from? Was it from another girl?
No, it was. There was some girls and some boys.
Okay.
Just wanted to be pen pals.
Well, that's cool.
But me being me, thinking, why don't people understand that this is Jan Lamona?
Yeah.
Legendary Star Wars smuggler. Not, why would anybody outside of my head know that?
Exactly.
Anyway. Yeah, but I wish I'd kept those letters. So so that was my first printed thing. So it's always got. So whenever I see a copy, and that's a really nice copy. Whenever I see a copy, I always pick it up.
Wow.
So I've got about 7 copies of that comic now because I'm sad.
I would understand it if that letter was the only thing you've ever had printed and published in any Star Wars magazine or book or anything. But I mean, you're fairly prolific. So let's be honest.
Well, yes, it came good in the end, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm quite chuffed with the fact that I had my little photo in, was it Star Wars Year on Year when we did the release of the second teaser trailer.
Yeah.
For Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And they did a screening at Leicester Square, and you guys were out in Celebration seeing it, and we saw it there. So that was cool. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, it's it's nice. And actually, what's been quite nice today actually is me and Phil Parker have been walking around, and we did a panel for the collector's track at Celebration in London just a couple of weeks ago, and there's been 2 or 3 people who have come up and gone, "Oh my God, you did that panel? Yeah, we really enjoyed it." Which is really nice because,
just a quick reminder: food is now being served in Jack's kitchen. Food is now being served in Jack's kitchen.
Good to know.
When you're watching stuff on ITV+1 and they say don't enter this competition because this episode's an hour old.
Yes.
Anybody who's listening to this, don't go to Jack's kitchen.
Yeah, because your food's going to be at least a couple of days old.
And certainly cold. Right, I'm here at Star Wars Fan Fun Day. I'm here with Jonathan Cass. How are things with you?
Fantastic. This is my first signing, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, first ever signing. So I'm loving Blackburn.
Yeah.
It's my first time in Blackburn as well.
Yeah.
People are so friendly. I had a great night last night at the gala dinner, which was lovely. A bit of entertainment as well.
Yeah.
And I'm just now having a thoroughly good day. And it's great to meet everybody. A lot of people have come from miles around as well, not just local. So I'm really happy that they've turned out, and I've met some lovely people.
And so, being your first signing, is it your first event or your first signing?
It's both, yeah.
Okay.
My first event and signing, So
you've plumbed on a really good one because this is known as being a great show.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
People tell me that I've picked a good one to start on because there's lots of families here today, so it's very family orientated.
Yep.
It's a very nice venue, Blackburn Rovers. It's just a very relaxed atmosphere as well.
Yeah.
No one's pushy, no one's invading your personal space. Everyone's been very respectful. So, and there's some great characters. Some of the costumes here are amazing.
Yeah, always.
Really good,
So when you got the role in Andor, you just spoke to Hazel, very sort of similar thing. You're doing it for the work, but then this ancillary thing when you're a Star Wars performer, that all of a sudden there's the opportunity to do events like this. Is this what you expected? How do you sort of feel about all that?
I've always been a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
I was 12 when the first one came out. So I've always loved Star Wars. Basically, it's because of my look, I play a German officer quite a lot.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the Indiana Jones film that's about to be released next month.
Oh, fantastic.
I play a German officer in that.
Yeah.
I played a German officer in Nazi Megastructures, Hitler's Circle of Evil, a film called Allied with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever played a German officer.
Right.
So I've got the look.
Yeah.
So basically, it kind of transfers over to being an Imperial officer.
Yeah.
So obviously they saw that I had this look, brought me in for the fitting.
Yeah.
I wasn't entirely sure because they gave it a code, CIS.
Okay.
So I didn't quite know what I was. So when I turned up for the fitting, and they started dressing me in the tunic and the jodhpurs and the boots.
This makes sense now.
Okay, and I was trying to stay cool.
Yeah.
Trying not to stand there grinning like an idiot because I'm getting dressed as an Imperial officer.
Yeah.
But the guy dressing me, I know from a lot of other productions.
Right.
So I was chatting with him. I said, I'm not going to lie. I said, I'm really excited about this. And he said, I'm glad because a lot of people turn up. And they couldn't care less whether they're right. But no, this has definitely been a dream job, and to be on season 1 and potentially on season 2.
Potentially,
I can't give anything away.
No.
Potentially on season 2 is fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so when you're on set, you're in that amazing room with some phenomenal actors. how did that feel? Because there's so much important stuff happening in those sequences in season 1 and hopefully season 2, but certainly in season 1. So how was that kind of being in that room? And of course, you're actors. There's a lot going on. There's things happening, but it must have been pretty important, especially being a fan, like you say.
Yeah, I mean, when you step on set, that's when the professionalism kicks in.
Yeah.
So you forget about all the excitement. You're just there. You want to do the best job you can. You listen to the director.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our stuff is reactional stuff.
Yes.
To what's been talked about.
Yeah.
We rarely get to speak. If you do, it's quite special.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is understanding the scene, understanding the gravity of the scene, and then try and dictate your facial expressions and your mannerisms according to what's going on.
Yeah.
Hence, that's why I look like an angry man, because I'm not very happy. Because Andor is obviously doing, he's getting too big for his boots, and we need to control him.
Yeah.
And things aren't going our way at the moment. Especially in the scene I'm in season 1,
Yes.
episode 4. Things aren't, going well at all. So it's just channeling all that sort of energy, and just enjoying it. In between takes, it's very relaxed. But then as soon as obviously the director says action, you've got to be on your game.
Got to be ready to go.
Yeah, because if you're smiling or looking in the wrong direction, then that's a cut. And you've ruined the scene. So you've got to stay in the zone.
Now, my co-host has just turned up, Mark.
Hello.
Mark, I know you'd like to ask some questions because obviously Jonathan was involved in some of the Bond stuff, and we've got a big Bond fan here, so I'm going to hand over the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Lovely.
Matt, this is rather impromptu, isn't it? Yeah. How are you doing?
Yeah,
I was
good,
going to say, from the back, you kind of look very much like Daniel Craig.
Right.
So, what role did you have with Bond films?
Well, basically, I was his stand-in in Jamaica for 3 weeks.
Nice.
So started off with, I got an availability saying I'm not available to stand in. They called it B25 then. They hadn't named it No Time to Die.
Right, yeah.
So I got an availability from my agent saying, can I go to a camera test at Pinewood to stand in for one of the main actors in B25.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew it was Bond.
Yeah.
I mean, just worked it out. So I turn up. Basically, long story short, I got to fire the Walther PPK.
Nice, yeah.
Down the camera lens. I got to fire a pump-action shotgun and drive the DBS on a rolling road.
Oh, really?
And just spent all day just filming various different lighting setups.
Yeah.
And I walked away from that day thinking, if nothing else comes of this, I've just had the best day of my life.
Absolutely.
I've literally been Bond for the day.
Yeah.
And then I got a call a couple of weeks later, said, am I available to go to Jamaica?
Yeah.
And I thought, let me just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
So I went to Jamaica for 3 weeks.
That's fantastic.
And filmed. It was. It wasn't a holiday. It wasn't as relaxed as you'd like to think. We had a couple of days off.
Yeah.
But it was very intense filming schedule. It was quite humid, hot. But it was an amazing experience.
Yeah. Was that your first time to Jamaica then?
I've been to Jamaica before. I used to fly for British Airways.
Right, okay.
So I've been to Jamaica quite a lot, but it's not been for any length of time really. It's only been for a couple of nights and then we've had to fly back. Yeah. So I got to see, obviously, because a lot of the locations, Frenchman's Cove and also Banana Wharf, I got to see a lot more Jamaica. Yeah. And where they built his villa was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. In fact, the boat they use, the Happenstance, is it Happenstance? The name of the boat?
I think it is.
It was actually the cove was so shallow. To get the boat into the cove, they had to literally tip it on its side. And this is a multi-million-pound yacht that they borrowed. So you can imagine there were.
They're a bit nervous about that.
There's a few people sweating about making the tiniest mark.
And nothing to do with the humidity either. Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah, no.
So were you were you on set with Daniel, or was it literally just like when you were on set, there wasn't any other cast around, and you were just doing like the reverse shots, or how?
No, Daniel was there.
Yeah.
So I would basically set up I'd watch the rehearsals. The director. There's a rehearsal with the director, and then they do a crew rehearsal. Yeah. So that's when I come in. I take a note of the dialogue, where he is when he says his dialogue, what actions he does, and then he'll go back to his trailer, nice air-conditioned trailer, and then they'll do all the setting up, they'll do the lighting, I'll run through the actions. A lot of the time I was expected to learn the dialogue as well, so you have to quickly learn the dialogue in the morning. Luckily I'm quite quick at learning lines. And then, Daniel would come in and basically they would show him what I did, because they would tweak it slightly. They would show him what I did, and then he would come and copy what I did.
Really?
And that's basically how the 3 weeks went.
Cool.
Yeah, so
really, it was Daniel copying you rather than the other way around.
Kind of. I saw the rehearsals, but I basically, because I learned the dialogue, and I was having to do it to camera, and I was getting directing from Carrie Fukunaga.
Yeah.
I was literally felt like I was Bond for 3 weeks. So,
wow.
And it was, I'll say, a wonderful experience, and something I look back. It was very hard work, but something I look back on with fond memories now.
Fantastic.
So,
And so, just how does that kind of compare? You've been on Bond 25, which is a massive multi-million-dollar film, and also then you move on to like Andor as well. You know, so did you find it was a similar kind of stress level? And
the stress level wasn't as much, because when you're a stand-in, you've got to be there when the director says turning round or moving on. You've got to be there, because it's such a tight schedule, especially 3 weeks in Jamaica. They couldn't afford to run over, so you have to be there. So there's a lot more pressure when you're standing in. But when I'm a supporting artist on Andor, virtually no pressure at all.
Yeah.
If they give you some dialogue, yes, there's a bit more pressure, but it's not as stressful as my job on Bond. Both, I enjoyed both as much.
Yeah.
I'm also in the Indiana Jones film that's coming out in June, playing a German officer again.
Right, okay.
So, which
similarities and crossovers there, then, potentially, with Andor.
Blue eyes, blonde hair.
Right, yeah.
and the bone structure.
Yeah.
So, I've got my mum to thank for that.
Yeah.
So, and I've got some more exciting projects coming up as well. The film industry in this country is absolutely, I think it's the best country in the entire world. And there's studios opening up all over the place. Everybody wants to film here. So
it's an exciting time to be in industry.
It's very, very exciting, and it's literally having to pick what job I want to do, because there's so much coming in. Because I don't want to take a job and then something like this comes up and I'm busy on something else.
Yeah.
So I'm very picky about what I say yes to, because I try and of course I do need the money, but I do it more firstly for the experience, and then the money comes second.
Sure.
But I just love the whole thing about being on set, the film industry. It's just
So you're hoping that the new Bond, whenever he gets announced, is going to have blonde hair, yeah?
Well, no, because I'm too old now. Because,
Are you too old? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that the next Bond has got to be early 30s, mid 30s.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because if they're going to do another 5-film deal, I mean, Daniel Craig was 51 on his last one. So my next aim, I'm going to put it out to the universe now. Bond baddie.
Yes.
I want to be a Bond baddie.
Yeah.
So,
there's a very, you could kind of double, I think, for like Stellan Skarsgård from Andor. So there's a chance you could do that as well. So
I think I definitely that's on my. I never wanted to be a stormtrooper. I wanted to be an Imperial officer.
Yeah.
So I've done that now. I never wanted to be Bond, but I wanted to be a Bond baddie. So that is my that's my next thing.
Here you go. Cool. Well, let's watch this space.
Yeah, watch this space. Cool. Hopefully, I'll put it out to the universe, so you never know.
Brilliant. Jonathan, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
For everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video, and social media feeds, bookmark FanthaTracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
There's a nice mixture of collectibles
really
here,
nice
actually.
Mixture.
There's some vendors who are selling pretty much purely vintage, and other stuff like new, modern. There's some collectibles for, I think, anybody and everybody.
Totally.
I'm trying to be good for once.
Okay, so what have you got your eye on then? We've not really
to be honest, I've not
nailed
really,
this down.
To be honest, I haven't really got my eye on much or anything at the moment.
Which means you'll spend loads.
Possibly, yeah, because that's the problem. If I come to somewhere like this with no kind of shopping agenda, then it's always going to mean trouble for the credit card.
Totally.
However, in fairness, I did win in the raffle yesterday.
You did?
At the Star Wars charity event.
Yes.
And I won an amazing RS Prop Masters TK Stunt Trooper helmet lid, which is awesome. So probably won't be able to top that this weekend. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have to have a look and see what's actually around. I mean, I'm kind of now starting to really lean more heavily into getting a nice full set of vintage vehicles and play sets. So that's probably going to be what I'm going to be looking at. I mean, I've got many of the main ones already. So I've got a really nice kind of Slave One and stuff. And actually, some play sets that I'm more keen on. So I'll probably want to finish those. But I haven't seen any play sets. But there's some lovely vehicles over there, some vintage vehicles. So.
I'm in the same boat in that I'm missing. I never got the Ewok Village. Never got Yoda's. The Dagobah set.
Yeah. So I have got the Ewok Village. Don't have Yoda's Dagobah play set.
Yeah.
The one that I always wanted, the Pro Boat and Turret.
Yes.
From Empire Strikes Back, and also the Rebel Command Center.
Yep.
I think only up until like a couple of years ago, but I didn't even know it existed. Yeah. And like now I've seen it, I'm just like, that's amazing.
Got to get it.
But don't tend to see those out in the wild very often over here. That's a US import, I think.
Hi, this is Dorian Kinji, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
One thing that happened yesterday that was very cool was that Fantha Tracks won an award.
Yeah, and you weren't expecting that.
Not at all. Not at all. Which was really cool. Yeah, so Neil and Paul do an award every year to people who help out with the Fan Fun Day, which has been going, like I say, for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
And the last one that they gave yesterday was to Fantha Tracks, which was very nice for sort of supporting the show and hyping it and talking about it on the podcast and all the other bits and bobs that we do.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so that was very, very cool. So let's keep walking. Because there's more good stuff.
Yes.
So some of the old book and records down there, lots of little Jedi bits, some of the old classic figures and...
I do love these. These are really cool.
Yes.
These hand-painted...
Sigma, isn't it?
Yeah, Sigma. Yeah. I've got, like, the C-3PO change tray.
Right.
Which is very similar, the C-3PO Celotype dispenser.
It's a little
bit like camp in the way he's kind of leaning. It's kind of like...
Yeah, they did choose their poses well, didn't they?
Yeah, those poses are particularly dodgy, so... but yeah, that's one of those things that I saw and I was like, I'm going to have to get that because I'm never probably going to ever get a sellotape dispenser.
Totally, and it's one of those things that you don't see that often, so you kind of got to hop onto it when you get the chance.
Yeah, so I got that and I was like, that's pretty cool, so...
There's some lovely stuff here.
Corvus Moon Cult Collectibles, so we've got a nice mix of like Disney Park stuff, you've got some lightsabers, and then some more modern stuff. The Slave Leia bracelet set that I picked up the other day from Zavi.
Yep.
Although, like I said, you've got to have some big arms to fit in there, I think, to be fair. And there's a Leia lightsaber from Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
That's the Disney Park
box. There's Camtono there as well.
Yep. I do like these coins. It's a Mandalorian kind of
they are gorgeous.
Set. They are lovely.
I bought, when I was at Galaxy's Edge, I bought the Republic set.
Yeah.
So I've got some of the Republic coins. There's some nice fan-made ones out there as well.
Yes.
So they actually mix together really, really well.
Which is perfect, especially if you've got them on a display.
Exactly that.
But then it's like, would you take something like that out of its case? And
I did, actually. I wouldn't normally, but in that instance I did. So, which is unusual for me. I mean... Jazzwares, the current run of Jazzware stuff. I just love having those dotted around the shelves because I think they just look so good. We're here at Star Wars Fan Fun Day in Blackburn, and I'm here with Hazel. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm loving it. It's my first time, and everyone's been so friendly, so welcoming.
So, when you came into the show, you're doing what you're doing. But was any of this a consideration? Did you think of beyond doing what you just did?
No, never. Because it was, I was just asked, would I be prepared to do a Disney production? So turned up, and then you find out, hey, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Sign the NDAs and all this, and it's just like, I can't tell anyone I'm actually going to be in the Star Wars thing.
What was that like? I mean, Andy's part of our team as well.
Yeah.
So I'm presuming, obviously you're close family, I'm assuming they knew.
Well, I did actually ask them, come round for tea, and I've just got to say something to you, but you've got to lips are sealed for a year.
Yeah.
And they were just so made up. Like Star Wars is their life.
Of course.
Which is the hobby of all of them.
And there's lots of exotic Star Wars locations.
Yeah.
Where did you film?
I filmed at Cleveland.
Hey.
We made it exotic.
Big time.
Yeah, because we were all dressed up to the nines. We're retired pensioners, filthy rich. And of course, the scene I'm in, I was given a drink by an alien. And I just completely ignored him.
As you do.
Yeah. It was great.
So how long were you filming for? Because we obviously with the website and fellas here and stuff, folks here knew of the filming and knew that it was longer than you might think. You were there for a little while.
A couple of days,
yeah.
Setting it up, and then we were all quite a number of extras on the beach front.
Yeah.
And then I got picked out to do the feature, so that was like nearly a day just doing that.
So what was that like? Because you're going there with an expectation of I might do this or I might do that, and then all of a sudden your face on the screen couldn't be clearer.
I know, and it's one piece of extras work that I've done. I've not done that many, but I usually get cast as like a beggar or a patient in a hospital or something. And this is the one piece of work that I've done that I was actually prettied up. Just like so amazing.
So now you're part of the Star Wars galaxy now. I mean, there's no escaping it now. You're stuck with us now. So
that's it.
So do it like I say. You come and do a show like this. It's another world, isn't it?
It's so unexpected.
Yeah.
Because to some extent, you do a piece of extras work and you see yourself on TV, or you don't make the edit at all.
Yeah.
And so be it. But then this is the work that just keeps giving.
We need an action figure. I know Andy makes action figures, and we need an action figure.
Yeah. I think he's been too busy at the moment, but might get one for my birthday or something.
You should. And just on that subject, in case people are listening, don't know, Andy is part of Fantha Tracks. He's also part of Blues Harvest. He must be proud as punch of what he's done with the band and everything.
Yeah. So much so. Things like the Mandalorian launch that they did in London.
The Forge,
recently. The Forge. Yeah. It's just like music's just. He's been since he was 15. He's been in bands.
Yeah.
And to get involved in Blues Harvest, it's just putting all his hobbies together. And they're all good musicians.
Yeah.
They're fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
Love it. So, to be more involved than ever.
You're a proper Star Wars family now, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Because, like, back in the day, the original Star Wars came out before he was born.
Yeah.
And myself and Tom, we sort of young family, so you don't really get time to look at them until they were a bit older, and then we'd all sit and watch them together.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is good. That was it.
So this you didn't foresee this?
No, didn't foresee this. No. So much fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time. It's lovely to properly meet you. I know we met briefly, but lovely to properly meet you. So thank you so much.
Well, and all the other Fantha Tracks guys.
Brilliant.
You're a good gang. I enjoyed being with you all.
We try. Thanks again.
You're very welcome.
We're coming back round now, so we're back near the Fantha Tracks booth.
A very bustling and busy Fantha Tracks booth, I might say. Yeah.
Very. So if you're here at the show, and of course when you listen to this, the show's going to be finished. This is kind of redundant. But if you were here at the show and you came up to the booth and said Fantha Trackers are everywhere, you get the event exclusive badge.
Which we talked about in last week's episode. So yeah, nice little white rimmed badge with Fantha Tracks logo and a delightful BB-8 on the front. So clearly must have been designed by Mr. Brian Cameron. So...
Clearly,
because he's such a fan of droids.
Clearly, yes.
Thanks for listening to Making Tracks. If you want to be a part of the action and stay updated on all the latest Star Wars news, visit fanthatracks.com or check out the free Fantha Tracks app through the App Store to follow us on your mobile device. You can reach out to us and send in your listeners' questions by emailing radio@fanthatracks.com. Comment, like and share on any of our social media feeds at Fantha Tracks, and be sure to subscribe, leave a review, preferably a 5-star one, on Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcatcher or smart speaker of choice. And as always, thanks to James Semple for composing the Fantha Tracks intro, Adam and Brian for our Making Tracks opening music, and Mark Daniel and Vanessa Marshall for our voiceovers. Remember, tune in to Good Morning Tatooine. It's live Sunday evenings at 9 o'clock UK, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Facebook and YouTube. And check out our Fantha Tracks Radio Friday night rotation every Friday night at 7 p.m. UK time for new episodes of The Fantha from Down Under, Planet Leia, Desert Planet Discs, Start Your Engines, Collecting Tracks, Cannon Fodder, and special episodes of Making Tracks. And that's me done for this episode.